So this week's parsha is Parashat Lech Lecha. Parashat Lech Lecha, we have the big mitzvah of the parsha. The big mitzvah is what? Titzchak Sarah, B'kirbah Leima. Right? You laughing? The big mitzvah is Mila. Bris Mila.
You got to get to the end of the parasha.
Avraham Avinu.
I didn't get that far yet.
Avraham Avinu. I thought you were saying about Titzchak Sarah. She laughed.
No, that's right.
So the parsha talks about the mitzvah of Bris Mila, and Bris Mila says in the pasuk that Hashem commanded Avraham. Hashem commanded Avraham to do the Bris Mila of himself, and of Yitzchak and Ishmael, Eliezer. So that's the pasuk. The pasuk says that Vayamal Avraham, that Avraham did the Bris Mila kasher tziva oisai elikim, like Hashem commanded him. Right? Kasher tziva oisai. Who is oisai referring to? Avraham. As Hashem commanded him, oisai. So the Gemara learns out oisai is only him Hashem commanded, but Hashem did not command Oisai v'lo Oisai. Hashem commanded Avraham, he didn't command Sarah. So therefore Sarah was not required to give the bris milah to any of the kids. It was only incumbent upon Avraham. Now, based on that piece of information, I want to bring down the idea of mitzvah asay shazman grama, and then we're going to come into a big question based on this piece of information. What's the rule of mitzvah asay shazman grama is that any mitzvah which is time bound, ladies are pater. They're pater from it. Where do we learn this from? So the idea why they're pater is because the Gemara says. The Gemara learns out. The Mishnah and Kedushin in the first parak towards the end of Chavtes. The Mishnah is out. V'chol mitzvah asay shazman grama anoshim chayavin v'noshim peturis. Every mitzvah which is a positive commandment, ladies that is time bound, are noshim chayavim. Only men are obligated. Noshim are peturis. Ladies are pater. V'chol mitzvah asay shazman grama. And if it's shelo hazman grama, if it's not time bound, for example, the case of a mitzvah asay which is not time bound, right, would be the pig out of the hat. Let's say mezuzah. No, mezuzah would be a mitzvah asay, yes, which is not time bound. Mitzvah mezuzah. If a lady moves into a house by herself, she has to put up a mezuzah.
Well, it is time bound.
Mezuzah? What time?
30 days.
30 days is not a time in the mitzvah. It's just a time to say when you're called that you're living there.
Okay.
But anyone who's living there has the mitzvah. So mezuzah, challah, to the mitzvah take challah. Challah is not a time-bound mitzvah. It's whenever you want to take challah, whenever you want to bake a lot of challah, then you have to take off challah. That's also a mitzvah which is a positive commandment, but it's not time-bound, so therefore ladies are obligated. Benching. It's actually an argument if ladies are part of benching because they don't have Eretz Yisrael, but there is a machlokas. Some say ladies are chayav from the Torah even. Or some say shechasam b'sereno is the problem. But either way, there are some who hold they are obligated to bench, and the reason would be because it's a mitzvah asay lo she'ein hazman grama. It's not time bound. So therefore, that is in reference to that, and mitzvahs asay, time-bound mitzvahs, which are positive. But if it's a los asay, which is a negative commandment, on that, everyone's chayav. As he finishes off, mitzvahs los asay, vein shazman grama. It doesn't matter, even if it's a time-bound los asay, ladies have to observe it, and they have to be careful from any negative commandment, not to transgress it. Says the Gemara, 1b, the Gemara learns out on Daf Lamed Vav Amud Aleph. The Gemara learns, where do we know that ladies are pater from mitzvah asay shazman grama? How do you know that? So the Gemara says we learn it from tefillin. Mitzvah asay shazman grama. Noshim peturis, ladies are pater. Why? Minalan gamar mitfillin. We learn it from tefillin. Ma tefillin noshim peturis. Because it's like a mamatzino. Mamatzino means we compare. We have a model, we look at the model mitzvah, let's call it tefillin, and we say, just like tefillin, ladies are pater from tefillin, as your classic mitzvah, so too, Avkol mitzvahs say, which are similar to tefillin, and tefillin is a time-bound mitzvah, because tefillin is specifically by day, not by night. So therefore, any mitzvah which is similar, which is time-bound, ladies are pater, just like they're pater from tefillin. That's the source. The Gemara goes deeper, but how do you know tefillin? That ladies are pater from putting on tefillin. So the Gemara says we learn it from Talmud Torah, because ladies are not obligated to learn Torah. And just like the mitzvah of Talmud Torah is also, well, just like we learn from Talmud Torah, there's a special way we learn from Torah to tefillin. Now tefillin is your prime mitzvah. It's time-bound. Ladies are pater. So any mitzvah which is time-bound, positive commandment, ladies are pater. That is the source. Now, if you want to also know, that's the source from the Torah. If you want to know a reason, what's the reason? So there's also like a reason. Sometimes we have the background reasons that a lot of Rishonim give why ladies will be pater. So this is not it's really from the Torah, but some Rishonim explain also like a reason to give a little taste.
Sure.
So the Avudraham, who was someone who wrote on the Siddur, he was a Rishon, and the Kolbo, they say that the reason why ladies are pater, they explain why this Gemara learns this out. They say, now I don't have this written here, I didn't copy it, but they say because a lady, she needs to be able to help her husband. She has to help her husband learn, and she has to help raise the kids. Because she's doing such a lofty task of raising a beautiful family of Torah, and helping her husband learn Torah and do everything he needs, therefore she is pater from time-bound mitzvahs. Right? Okay. Comes along the question now, what's the din with bris milah? Does a lady have to do a bris for her son? Who was obligated to do a bris on the 8th day of a baby being born? So Gemara learns number 2. The Gemara says in Daf Chav Tes, the Gemara says Lamulu minalan shavim chayv. How do you know that the father is obligated to do the bris to his son? D'chsev Vayamal Avraham es Yitzchak benai, because it says that Avraham gave the bris to Yitzchak. That means that Avraham was the one who was obligated. At least he was obligated. Now what happens if the father, he doesn't do the bris milah?
What happened with Moshe and his wife?
Oh, so right. So let's say the father doesn't do the bris. So is anyone obligated to do the bris, to step in? The answer is yes. The answer is, who has to?
The mother.
What does the Gemara say?
The community.
The community has to do it. Tichsiv, because it also says in this week's parasha, Himal lachem kol zachar. Himal means that he should be gemalit. He should make sure that he is circumcised. Himal lachem, he kol zachar. Every male should become circumcised, and we learned that that's a task to Bezdin. And let's say the Bezdin is busy and is not doing it. Mechayev ihu lemimal nafshei. Ihu is who? Who is the next one in line if Bezdin doesn't do the bris? Ihu means he himself. Lemimal nafshei. The boy himself.
You have to. Okay.
The boy himself has to make sure that he gets the bris milah.
Later in life.
Right.
Later.
Ve'orel zachar asher lo yimal b'sar alasai. It says an oral zachar, a baby boy that has a foreskin, asher lo yimal es b'sar alasai, and he does not circumcise his own arla, his own foreskin that's on his own body. V'nechusa, he will get cut off. So we learn out from here that a boy himself has to make sure that he gives himself a bris milah when he becomes 13. But that's all. Those are the 3 levels: the father, Bezdin, and the boy himself. So what about the mother?
So it doesn't fit very well with Sephora, does it?
What about the mother? So keep on going. The Gemara says, Ihi, she, minalad le'mechayva. How do you know she's not obligated to give her son a bris? T'chsiv kasher tiva Isai Elikim. Isai v'lo Yisah. Avraham was commanded, but not Sarah. Sarah is pater from giving her son, and any lady's pater from giving their son bris milah. So that's very good, right? So far, so good?
I mean, you're saying it, but it doesn't sound right.
It doesn't sound right?
That the boy should go without. If it's obligated on the mother and she doesn't have an obligation for it.
She doesn't have a mitzvah. What do you want to know? Should she do it anyway if the bezin is not doing it?
Yeah. First of all, I thought I'd learned a long time ago, even if a Jewish boy doesn't have a circumcision, he's referred to, all Yiddim are referred to as the circumcised ones, as opposed to even a goy that does, they're still considered, they're referred to as the uncircumcised ones.
Okay, they're referred to it, but at the end of the day, we have a mitzvah to do a bris milah. So this boy has to get the bris milah done.
And the mother is not obligated to fulfill it. Not
right.
fulfill it, but make sure that somebody, obviously most people don't fulfill it themselves, that's why they have the shliach of the
right, but the mother doesn't have to make sure to get the shliach. It's not incumbent on the mother. The mother might feel that she wants it because she feels bad or she feels that it's a Jewish thing to do, but she doesn't have a mitzvah.
So then what happened with Moshe and Zipporah, where he was about to die unless Gershom was circumcised?
What happened?
The Ramban's going to have
she circumcised him.
It's very good, but she didn't get a mitzvah.
But who was it that was about to die? Not Moshe was about to die, or the son was about to die?
Moshe.
No. There was her son was about to die.
So Moshe. Moshe.
They swallowed up Moshe.
The Simon one was Moshe, that he was from the bottom to the top. The only part of Moshe that was exposed. Was
right. Okay. So we have to look up that. You're asking a good question. How was Sipporah allowed to do bris milah? That's a good question that we have to think about. That's a good question for homework.
Well, the Ramban has the.
But now, based on this question, we now have a question, right? Now based on this idea that a lady is excluded, so what's the source? Why is a lady pater from doing a bris milah?
It's a positive missing time, it wasn't given to her. It was given to him. We just said that, no?
So one second, you just said two things. Did you hear what he just said?
She didn't have
it wasn't given to her, it was given to her. It wasn't given to her, it was given, and now it's time bound. But I mean, it doesn't make a difference that it's time bound because it wasn't given to her anyways. So if
she's not chayav to do it.
So you said two different reasons why she's pater.
No, but
she's
one
pater because it was only given to Avraham.
Right, that's what we just said a few minutes ago.
She's pater for a second reason because the mitzvah says
if she was obligated, she would be pater because it's a time bound mitzvah.
Right.
But she's not obligated, so it's secondary.
So two reasons. So you're saying
one reason.
Let's say she would have been obligated.
Is inconsequential.
Why?
Because she doesn't have the mitzvah. She's not chayav for it.
But let's say she would. I just want to say hypothetically.
But then she would be time bound. Then it's a time bound positive mitzvah. Then she wouldn't be. She'd be pater.
So we have two reasons why she's pater.
Well, he really wants to say the Atzei Mangra if she's not chayav mitzvah Atzei, period. Because
so that's obviously.
He doesn't want to bring the mitzvah Atzei Mangra into being because he wants to go on Osa, not Osa. So there's no mitzvah Atzei on her, period. But seeing as the wife, her whole reason for being is to assist her husband in everything he needs to get done. So you could say that she's bound up by his mitzvah.
So she's got to take a fly swatter to her husband.
And then you could say, but it's man grandma, so she's not. I don't know.
So the question is, you can't get out of this. There's two reasons why she's pater. One is because Hashem commanded Isai. Second reason is that's mitzvah seishas man grandma, because it is only at a certain time.
But Rabbi doesn't need two reasons. He only needs one.
You only need one to make her pater. Right. But when I ask you which one, you could choose either one.
Okay.
You could choose either one, right?
But she doesn't have the.
Okay, so it doesn't get off the ground. You're right. You're right.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
You're right. It doesn't get off the ground. But there are two reasons.
Okay. Not good.
So if that's really true, so let's go back to the Gemara in Kedushin. Gemara in Kedushin asked, how do you know that a lady is pater from giving her son a bris milah?
In Kedushin is
in Kedushin on Daf Chav Tes Amud Aleph. What?
Amud Aleph, Chav Tes Amud Aleph.
Yes. Oisai v'lo Oisai. The Gemara here answered one answer because it says that Hashem commanded him and not her. So now Irving has a question. Now that you just agreed with me, so why did the Gemara say a different pshat? Right? The Gemara just learned, by the way, and it's not like the Gemara forgot the klal, forgot the rule that mitzvah seishes man grama der pater.
Right.
First of all, the Gemara doesn't forget anything. Second of all, it's on the same daf. You know where that top Mishnah that I quoted here?
Mm-hmm.
It says Parak Aleph. You know what daf it is?
Chavtes.
So why in the world did the Gemara not bring down the rule that the lady is pater? Because it's a mitzvah aseh, shazman grama. That's the question here, which I want to put forth. Maskim?
Mm-hmm.
You like the question, Jonathan?
Yeah. Well, the question is Mila. Tosfos wants to ask a question: is it really? This man grama?
What?
I'm looking at Tosfos here. Is that the chiyuv begins in Yom Shmini?
Oh, she's saying it turns. So Tosfos asks the question. Yeah. So Tosfos says an answer. He says, what does that mean? It's time bound. What's the time that it's bound by? Which time? Some mitzvahs we know the time.
The 8 days.
The time is the 8th day. It only starts on the 8th day. The mitzvah starts only on the 8th day. So Irving wants to say that's the pshat why Milah is a mitzvah saseh shazman grama. Because it only starts on the 8th day. Ask him, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. So on that says Taisus, yes, you're right.
After that.
But I want to argue, says Taisus. Now, there's another thing, by the way, I would add to what you're saying. It's only by day that we do a bris milah. According to most, it's actually an argument. Some say you only do it by day, and some say you could even do it once you pass the 8th day. You could even do it the night. So it's an argument. So if we would go like the one who says you can only do it by day and not by night, that would also be another idea why it's a mitzvah say shazman grama. So that Tosfos says I'm going to get out of both of those problems to answer up this rock solid question that you're saying, which means
the end of this is that she is obligated. Is that what you're coming around to say?
The end of this is that from the idea of mitzvah say shazman grama, she would be obligated. Which is why you need to bring the pasuk to say that she's pater.
Okay.
Right. And what's the idea? Says Tosfos because it's really Tosfos says this mitzvah of Milah is a mitzvah aseh she'ein hazman grama. This is not a time bound mitzvah. You'll ask me that it starts only on the 8th day. Says Tosfos, yeah, but once it starts, it doesn't stop. It is a constant mitzvah, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
From 8
not
days
7 days, 6 days. From 8 days and on, it's always a constant mitzvah. So therefore, that's not zman. There's no zman in there. There's no specific times that that you're obligated. And because of that, Tosfos says it's not a time-bound mitzvah. And he also adds, and he says even by night, we're going to go like this Gemara goes like the one who says that you could even do the milah at night once you pass the 8th day. And therefore, it keeps on going straight, not time bound. Therefore, ladies would have been obligated in bris milah because it's mitzvah saseh she'ein hazman grama. It's not time bound, and therefore the Gemara said, you know why a lady's pater? Because it says in the pasuk in this week's parasha, kasher tiva isai elikim, because Hashem commanded him and not her. That's why she's pater. That's Tosfos. Comes along the Ramban. And the Ramban, this is like a big question. So big, everyone asks it. Says the Ramban, I'll tell you a different pshat. Because according to Tosfos, you realize what come out. That when you're going to make your list, when you get home tonight, of all the mitzvahs say, which ones are Zman Grama, which ones are Ein Zman Grama. So, on the list of Ein Zman Grama, you're going to put mezuzah, challah, and bris milah. That's what comes out. And on this side, you'll have maybe tefillin and different mitzvahs. But you won't have bris on that side. So it's an amazing chiddush that Tosfos says. But that's how Tosfos holds. And therefore, that's what Tosfos says. Says the Ramban, he doesn't hold of this. Why doesn't he hold of this? So you can, first of all, you can imagine. I'll give you 2 reasons why he doesn't hold of it. First reason is because like Irving said. It's time bound. 8th day. It only starts by the 8th day. Good. Once the 8th day comes, then it's constant. But it only starts by the 8th day. It's Zman Grama. What does Zman Grama mean? Mitzvah says Zman Grama, that the time brought about the mitzvah. So Bris Milah, the time brought it about by the 8th day. It might be constant afterwards, but it was caused by time. That's the first thing that the Ramban would hold. The second thing he would hold is that we hold that we don't do a Bris Milah by night. Even after the 8th day, we don't do a Bris Milah. We say day only. So it's two reasons why it's time bound. It's only from the 8th day and on, and it gets cut off every night. It gets cut off, so it's only by day.
Interesting choice of expression.
Says Taisis. It says the Ramban, and therefore, on that Gemara right over there, he argues with Tosas, and he says, "I'll tell you a different reason how to get out of the question." But he has to answer the question. The question is a great question. Why did the Gemara bring down the reason why she's potter is because Kasher Tzivah. So Yelikim, it should have said a different reason. It should have said because it's a mitzvah Seishas my grandma. Says the Ramban, no. Because the mitzvah Seishas my grandma only applies to mitzvahs. What?
On yourself.
On yourself. Mitzvahs which you have to do with your body. You have to do with your hands. On yourself. It has to do, put on tefillin, it goes on your hand. All these types of mitzvahs have to do with your body. But let's say mezuzah, you have to put up a mezuzah with your hand. Now that would have been, it happens to be that's a non-time bound mitzvah, but any mitzvah which is with your body, on your body, like tefillin, that's what you call mitzvah saseishas man grama. But he says, bris milah is done to someone else. It's not done on her body. It's done on the baby. So if it's done on the baby, you don't apply the rule of mitzvah saseishas man grama. Although it is a mitzvah that is time bound, but we only apply time bound, that Torah, that exemption of time bound, only on mitzvahs which have to do with your own body. And therefore bris milah, which is done not on your own self, so therefore it's not doesn't get the exemption of mitzvah saseishas man grama.
So she could do it with the bracha.
And therefore she would have been able to do it with the bracha had the Torah not come along and written Kasher tiva Isai Elikim Isai v'lei Isa. That came along to say that's why she's pater. For this new reason, Kasher tiva Isai Elikim. But because of the reason of mitzvahs saseishas man grama, it only applies to mitzvahs which have to do with your own body. Now,
well, that's good for you. It knocked off your reason of you wanted to say only so not osa. That was your main reason. So Rambam agrees with you. That's the main reason.
Yeah, very good. The Gemara agrees with you. So now, if you want a little bit of a better example, I want to help just shine this idea of the Ramban a little bit. I want to give you two more examples of where you have such an idea of this Ramban. Where do you have other mitzvahs that you don't do on your body? So, the classic example is Shvisas behemtoi. What does Shvisas behemtoi mean? So behemtoi means your behema, your animal. Shvisa is shavas, to
feed it, to take care of it.
What does Shabbos mean?
Resting.
To rest.
Yeah.
Shvisas behemtecha. There's a mitzvah every Shabbos that you should rest your animals. Your animals should not do work. It's not only do you have a mitzvah not to do work, that we all know, shouldn't do work, but even your animals should not be working. How do I know this? Because we say this, it says in the Chumash. Not only that, but we say this in Kiddush. We say, if I'm not mistaken, every morning, Shabbos morning, the Torah says it, Leman yanuach shorcha v'chamayrecha. The Torah writes, Leman yanuach shorcha, in order that your ox will rest, v'chamarcha, and your chamar. So therefore, the Gemara learns out from that pasuk, right? Ato, we also say in Kiddush Shabbos, say Ato mincha v'techa avdecha v'mascha uvehemtecha. You notice behemtecha is stuck in there, right before the Begerecha Asher B'Sharecha, that your behema is also obligated to be resting on Shabbos. And this is brought down in Siman Reish Mem Vav, just to show you where it is, to look it up later. But on number 4, it says over there, Shulchan Aruch Siman Reish Mem Vav Sif Gimel on the bottom. I wrote the Shulchan Aruch Paskins. He rules Aser lahaskir or lahashil behemtoi lein Yehudi. It's forbidden, therefore, to rent out your animal or to lend your animal to a goy, kadesh yasa ba malacha b'Shabbos. Even though you're not going to be doing the malacha, you're not going to be working your animal. Who's going to be working the animal? Only a goy. You're renting the animal. You rent out your horse and your donkey to a goy, and you tell the guy, $50, I'll rent it to you for Shabbos. So what's he going to do? He's going to be plowing all Shabbos. You're saying, I'm not doing anything. I'm sitting in my house. I'm not doing malacha with my horse. That says the Gemara. Says from the pasuk, no, your animal has to rest. Leman yanuach sharcha v'chamayrecha. Your animal has to rest, and if your animal is not resting, even though a guy is doing the work, it's forbidden, and therefore you're not allowed to rent it out. You're not allowed to lend it, in order that it should do work. She'adam mitzvah al shvisas behemtoi, because every man, every Jew is obligated to watch that his animal rests on Shabbos, and therefore. That's what the Mishnah Berurah brings down. And he gets into all types of ideas. What should you do if he didn't give it back? So he says one idea, maybe you should be mafker it for a day. Say for Shabbos, the horse, I'm being mafker. That way it's not yours. Or maybe you should stipulate and say that I want it back before Shabbos. All these different ideas. But one thing is clear. It's clear that there's a mitzvah aseh from the Torah to watch your animal on Shabbos, that it should not do any work. And that's the idea here. Biur Halacha brings us down. You have to be careful that your horse should not be pulling the wagon on Shabbos, right? Let's say they had a horse and buggy. Your horse cannot be pulling any buggy. It cannot be pulling any wagon. Or you cannot load up your donkey with packages and have it maybe bring it inside. Right, let's say you'll be going back to your house, and Friday afternoon you hit traffic. So what do? All of a sudden it comes to Shkia, comes to sunset. So you know what you do? You take all your packages off, your camera, your muktzah things. You put it on the donkey, and then you'll say, "Donkey, go." You know where to go. Are you allowed to do that after Shkia? Right? Let's say the donkey will go back to your house. The answer is he's not allowed. Because even if you lead the donkey by your voice, you're leading the donkey, and that is going to be a problem of having it do work for you, and that's shvisas be'emtei. So therefore, you're not allowed to do that on Shabbos. So therefore, you have to make sure that your donkey and your horse is not doing any work. So now I ask you, so what would you call this mitzvah? This mitzvah is, first of all, we see that it is a positive commandment. You should rest. It's not a negative commandment. It doesn't say don't work your animal. It says your animal should rest. It's a positive commandment. The second thing I see, is this a time-bound commandment or it's not a time-bound commandment? Shabbos. So Shabbos
is a time-bound commandment.
Time-bound commandment. Every seventh day.
So women are potter.
So what would you say? Should women be chayav or potter? What?
How does that? If we just finished saying that time bound is based on what you do to yourself.
Oh, yeah.
So your animals are considered yourself?
No, they're not. So now let's plug it in.
Shirisa is not it's no mice involved.
So now let's plug it in. So Irving is jumping on the Ramban already. Wait. So first let's lay down the first foundation. This is a mitzvah sasei shazman grama. It's a time-bound mitzvah. So, according to Taisus, Jonathan's saying, well, according to Taisus, any time-bound mitzvah, everyone holds, any time-bound mitzvah, specifically Taisus says, ladies are pater. So, according to Taisus, a lady who owns a horse, a donkey, she's allowed to have her donkey rented out. She's allowed to have her donkey plowing in the field. She tells it, the donkey knows what to do. So right before sunset, she brings it in, she hooks it up. The donkey could be plowing a whole Shabbos, according to Taisus. L'chayra. Seems. Which is an unbelievable thing to say, because we never heard of such a heter, such permission before. Right? Because, she should be obligated also, you would have thought. But Irving now says, that's only good according to Tosfos. But what about according to the Ramban? The Ramban, who explained that mitzvah sasesha man grama means that it only applies to mitzvahs which you do on your own body. So here, the mitzvah of shvisas behemtecha is not a mitzvah that you do on your body. It's a mitzvah that you have to watch that your animal doesn't work. You have to make sure your animal doesn't work. But it's not anything you're doing on yourself. It's you're just keeping your animal. You make sure your animal rests. So on that, the Ramban would say this doesn't qualify to enter into the rules of mitzvah sasesha man grama, because it has nothing to do with mitzvah sasesha man grama. Mitzvah sasesha man grama only are mitzvahs which have to do with your own body. When you watch your animal, but you're not doing anything to yourself, and therefore this would not get the exemption of mitzvah sasesha man grama. And therefore, ladies will be obligated, like any other mitzvah, which they are obligated in, which won't have any heterim, any terms where they would be allowed. They would be obligated to make sure that their animal rests on Shabbos.
Shvisas b'hamto is also in the Torah.
Yes. Leman yonuach shorcha v'chamayrecha is written, I believe, in Parshas Yisroi, and we say it in Kiddush, so it's twice in the Torah. So that would come out that this argument that according to the Ramban, a lady would be obligated to make sure that her animal is not plowing or planting or carrying packages on Shabbos, or even carrying anything, because it's interesting. Carrying is also a malacha. Hotzah, right? If there's no air, you can't walk outside carrying anything. So an animal can't even have, camera case on its back because that's carrying. Interesting idea. See, that's what would come out, the difference between the Ramban and Tosfos. So we have now two differences. One difference is hypothetical. Hypothetical if Mila is a mitzvah sasesha man grama or not. But now we have a practical difference, which the Minchas Chinuch asks that it should come out an unbelievable thing. According to Tosfos, a lady could let her animal do work. And he doesn't understand how that could be possible. Now, I want to bring you a proof to try to bring a proof against one of these two Rishonim. The proof is on the left side, number 7, in the Gemara in Be'ah Daf Chav Gimel. The Gemara says, Shloisha Dvarim Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah matir v'chachamim oisrim. There are three things that Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah said is permitted, and the Chachamim said it's asur. What was the first thing that Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah allowed? He allowed parasai yaitza biritzua shebein karnel. He allowed his para, his own cow, to go outside on Shabbos with a ritzua, with a strap, shebein karnel. It was a certain type of strap which was between the horns of the cow, and he let it walk outside. Rashi says it was on Shabbos, and the strap, Rashi says, was made lenoi, was made to make. It was a beautiful type of string or strap, but the Rabbanan said you can't do that because that is not like a clothes, that is carrying. He said that's not something that the cows wear to look beautiful. That's not something they wear nice. So if it's not something that they wear usually, so therefore that would be called carrying, like you're carrying a package. And therefore the cow, we just finished saying, you have to make sure your cow rests on Shabbos. And how do you know if it rests? If it does any of the 39 malachas. One of the 39 malachas is carrying. The cow cannot carry this strap between its horn. And therefore, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah said he said it's fine. His cow, he let it go out. But the Chachamim said, no, you cannot do that. It's carrying.
Was he out based in at the time? Had the Sanhedrin or whatever?
Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah?
Time, I don't know, I guess.
We have to think about that. So skip to the Gemara. And I want to show you an interesting Gemara here. Remember, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, Chad Apara Havila. So the Gemara asks an interesting question. The Gemara says, look at the Mishnah. How did the Mishnah describe this cow? Parasai, his cow. That means he only had one cow. Because or else it should have said one of his cows. It should have said achas mi paraisov. Or it should have said all of his paras. Why does he say one cow? His cow. He only had one cow? Frek the Gemara. What do you mean? Chada para havila. Rav. But Rav said, and some say that it was Rabbi Yehuda Rav, that Tleiser Alfei Egle have. He had 13,000 calves. Have a meiser. He have a ma'aser. Now you ready for this one? 13,000 calves he gave to meiser, which means he had
thousands,
10 times more.
10 times more than that. So he had so much more. One cow went out in the Rishus Harabim with a strap between what happened to all the others.
Bottle barrel.
Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, and it says Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah me'adrel kol shata v'shata, and it says over there, yeah, that's what he did. He had 13,000 have a ma'aser Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. He would take off ma'aser me'adrel from the eder, from his whole flock. Kol shata v'shata. It was 13,000 that he gave meiser every year. Kol shata shana. Every year he gave it to. So you see, he had so much more. And that the Gemara answers, Tana loy shaloi haisa. No, that cow was not his. Rather, el shal shchentoi. It was his shachen. It was his neighbors. Haisa. So you might ask me, so what are we asking here? What does that have to do with Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah? Why are we getting angry at him? Because his cow of his neighbor. His neighbor had his cow carrying. What did Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah? Why is he guilty? Because his neighbor was carrying.
Answer it.
And that the Gemara says, Ba. Because he was not Micha. He did not protest. He should have spoken up. Right? We know everyone, Kol Yisrael, Ravim Zelos, everyone has to make sure their brother is on the right track. You have to help out your brother. And if you see him doing something wrong, you have to inform him. So it says, maybe it
was a goy neighbor.
No, it was a Jew.
Okay.
It was a Jew. I know this for the fact that the Gemara is bringing this as a proof. But the Gemara says, like Micha Ba. What does it mean? For the fact that he did not protest.
Yeah.
Ba. Who's Ba?
Yeah.
Who's her?
Whoever owned the cow.
Her. Who's her?
Huh?
Whoever the what?
Whoever owned the cow. I don't know.
Whoever owned the cow. Right? His neighbor.
Yeah.
So obviously there was a certain lady who was his neighbor and she owned the cow.
So if it was a her, he must have said Papa.
What?
So then he held Papa.
He held Papa that what?
That she's not on Shvis's behemda.
Oh. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. You jumped the gun here. What do you see for the Gemara? And then a lady let her cow go out with the strap between the horns, and she was doing like so, and Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah held that was nice. Says Rashi, why did Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah not protest? Because he held that it was beautiful. It's a design. It's like you wear a tie. You allowed to walk out with a tie on Shabbos. Yeah, because that's beautiful. It's part of it's like clothes. You know, it's like something you're wearing to be nice. If you like,
you mean she put it on the short just on Shabbos? I mean, he's trying to suggest
either just on Shabbos or every day. But it was made for beauty. It's like you braid your hair and you put this ribbon in your hair. That wouldn't be called carrying. So Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah says, I let the cow go out. That's fine. The cow could go out on Shabbos. The Rabban said, no, that is not beauty. That's not the type of thing that cows go out. That's a package you're carrying. So that's why Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah allowed it, and that's why the Rabban said no. But what do we see? So Jonathan points out, but who is the owner of this cow? Who has the mitzvah of Shvisas Behemtecha?
So they held the
lady. A lady has the mitzvah of Shvisas Behemtecha.
Yeah.
Ask the Minchas Chinuch. A lady has a mitzvah of Shvisas Behemtecha? What does that mean? Let's go back to our Rishonim here.
Well, why wouldn't
According to Tosfos,
why wouldn't she?
According to Tosfos, every mitzvah say Shazman Grama, ladies are pater. Right? That's the old rule. Let's go back.
Yeah, but he didn't hold by the fact that it had to do with herself, like on yourself.
That's the Ramban.
So that's the Ramban.
So Tosfos was actually.
But according to Tosfos, he goes with the old rules. Mitzvah says Shazman Grama, ladies are pater. Okay. So this cow, what's the problem? Why is the Chachamim getting so angry? They're so angry. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah should have protested. He should have told the owner of the cow that no. you can't let your cow go out. You have to watch your cow. It's shvisas b'emtecha. Why? Says Tosfos should have said, no, there's no mitzvah. She's a lady. Ladies are not obligated in time-bound commandments. This is a mitzvah which is only for Shabbos. Therefore, that's why Rabbi Eliezer ben Azariah didn't say anything. That's why the Chachamim getting all angry? What's there to protest about? A lady is pater according to Tosfos. So from here you have apparently a proof to the Ramban that everybody is bringing up, that the Ramban is saying that if it's a mitzvah saseh, even though it's time-bound, but since it's not on the body, it's just to watch your cow. So shvisas b'emtecha, which is not on you, on your body to do. So therefore, even if it's time-bound, ladies are obligated. And therefore, the Gemara is beautiful, according to Ramban, why they had to protest. They had to protest. He should have protested because it's although it's time-bound, but ladies are obligated anyway because it's not on your body. So we have a proof to the Ramban and a question on Tosfos.
Mm-hmm.
So just to end off, what seems to be, just to answer what Tosfos will do to this, what will he do with this question, it seems that Tosfos held like the Ran, that there's a Ran that says that we learn on Shabbos all types of things in Shabbos, Zachar to Shamar. Mm-hmm. We all know that ladies are obligated in Kiddush, just like they're obligated in positive commandments, in negative commandments. Positive commandments are too, they're obligated. Right? Just like we know they can't turn on a light, so too they have to make Kiddush on Shabbos. Zachar v'shamar v'dibur echad, since it was said in one utterance, therefore ladies are obligated in Kiddush.
Isn't there an idea that anything in which they are mahana, also anything from which ladies benefit, they also have to perform that mitzvah, like Pasha Zachar when it's a Shabbos? I mean, there's Brias Olam, you know. So, isn't there an idea?
We have to look that up. We have to see. We have to see who the source of that is. But says the Ran, the same way I see that there's such a idea of joining the positive commandments to the negative commandments by Kiddush on Shabbos, from Zachar to Shamar, from the Shamar, which is negative commandments, to Zachar, which corresponds to the positive commandments, and the lady's obligated in Kiddush, even though that's a time-bound mitzvah. So too he wants to say it's by all ideas in Shabbos also. All ideas she's also obligated in. And therefore, it seems that Tosfos held of that, and held that ladies are obligated at all, even if they're time-bound, or even if they're still obligated. A lady's still obligated, just like she's obligated in Kiddush, she's also obligated to watch her donkey. And therefore, this lady, who was the neighbor of Rabbi Eliezer ben Azariah, she should have watched her donkey, not because it's a mitzvah seishas man grama, but for a different reason, because it is a Maisa Shabbos. It's something in Shabbos which we compare negative commandments to positive commandments, and we obligate a lady in all of them for that reason. And that seems to be how Tosfos will answer up this Gemara